Hey there, everybody. I know that it is Thanksgiving, or Thanksgiving is actually past, and in the tradition of Justice Walker YouTube vlogging, whatever you want to call it, I of course am late for the celebration. It's my normal MO in the Russian YouTube, always late for every holiday, but at least late is better than never, as they say. I was actually telling my girls a bedtime story from my own childhood, from our life as a family here in Siberia, and it has to do with Thanksgiving. And I thought that would make a good little video for the English YouTube channel. Back in the 90s, in the early 90s, when we first moved over to Russia, my folks, my three sisters, and myself, Russia was going through what they now refer to as their Great Depression, the 90s. The communism had completely collapsed. The entire country was in economic and social upheaval. We had just moved out to the little town of Siberia, and we're living in an old daycare center. And going to the stores was a pretty sad kind of an event. You'd go in and you might have money, but there was nothing to buy. And people were pretty still sketchy about the whole market system of like selling things out of their root cellars, and it was hard to find things, hard to get a hold of even your basic foodstuffs. And I remember Dad, he would go out and buy, bulk buckwheat when he could, or rice or oatmeal or things in bulk. And I think it was the first year that we were living in Siberia. Thanksgiving came around, and we were sitting down at the table in the morning having breakfast, and kind of there was this somber cloud, that's this big celebration, family, Thanksgiving, turkey, cranberry sauce, and all that was just not available to us. It's not like we were going hungry or anything, but it just was pretty Spartan. We didn't have a garden, and most of the Russians at that time hugely supplemented their diet due to their gardens, and we were living on pretty basic fare. And so we were sitting around the table talking about that, and I remember Mom had mentioned a few times that she would have really liked to make a nice Thanksgiving dinner, and it was kind of sad that wasn't going to work out. And we kind of practiced a thing of, let's go around the table and say what we're thankful for, and thank the Lord for what we do have. And so we did that little discipline, that little thing, and like literally as we were still sitting there at the table, maybe as we were just cleaning up from breakfast, there was a knock at the door, and Dad goes out and opens the door, and there's a guy out there, Russian hat, with the ears and everything, on his motorcycle with a sidecar, and we didn't speak Russian very well at that time, but conveys us the idea that you guys have come from America or come to our town, and I just wanted to welcome you guys to our town. So he throws the carpet off of his that was covering up his the seat for his sidecar, and in his sidecar he's got all these jars from his root cellar, like pickles and pickled tomatoes and different kinds of these preserved salads that the Russians do, cranberry jam, a sack of potatoes, just some things. And we were pretty amazed. I remember Dad saying, do you know what day it is today in America? Do you know that this is a celebration? The guy was like, I don't know anything about America. I just know that I wanted to welcome you to our town. So for us, that was just this big, I don't know, just a divine kind of a thing, just gives you kind of goosebumps. We were just thinking about that, not having a Thanksgiving dinner, and here you've got potatoes and cranberry sauce and, and pickles and all that kind of good stuff. So we sat down at the table at lunch, and we're kind of thinking about that, how this is just a wonderful thing that the Lord is providing for us and giving thanks to Him. And sure enough, just a few minutes after lunch was over, there's a knock at the door, and Dad runs out, and lo and behold, another neighbor is standing there with a goose, a live goose, wants to give us this goose, oh, welcome back to Russia, we're welcome to Russia, we wanted to just make sure you felt welcomed at our town, and so we wanted to give you this goose. And we were, of course, by this point, we're just completely astounded. Do you guys know what day this is for Americans? Does this day mean anything for you? And our neighbors said, no, we don't know anything about America. We just know that we wanted to welcome you. And for us, having the goose and the potatoes and cranberries and pickles and all that kind of good stuff was just, I think, a way that I continue to remember back on and think of how God is faithful and able to show His care for you in any situation. And that underscores the necessity for us as believers to go through whatever life events that we go through with thankfulness. I am completely convinced that to God it's not so important what we go through as much as it's important how we go through it. And when you go through a situation that seems to you to be hard, while you're going through it, having gone through it, you can see the faithfulness of God. Sometimes as clearly as goose potatoes and cranberries on Thanksgiving in a strange and foreign land, and sometimes not so, in not such an evident way. So anyway, that's just a little story from our time in Siberia, and I hope it was helpful and maybe interesting. So let me know. And as I say in my Russian YouTube videos, the earth is the Lord's. So until next time.